Hello, and welcome back. Today's topic is let's talk about the rotation in the system and using the ETFs as our vehicle. But stick around, there is more than just rotation. So, before I dive in, welcome back to the systematic trading educational videos. I'll be posting video every week. So stick around and watch more of the content. You will learn a lot about the systematic trading. Before I dive in though, I want to just disclaim that I'm not a financial advisor, so take whatever I'm saying with a grain of salt, do your own due diligence. I'm speaking from my own personal experience, but it doesn't mean that you can just repeat what I do. Now, what we're trying to accomplish. So the idea is, hey, can I take the whole bunch of ETFs, as an example sectors, ETFs plus some maybe indices, and then create a very good system out of it. And what I mean by very good system? It's something which outperforms the market. And as an example, for the market I will use S&P 500. Okay, so and we will see that we don't repeat what the market does, and we will actually be beating the market. Right? That's the idea. That's the premise. So let's see if we can accomplish this. Okay, now here's the rotating system. Rotation happens based on ranking, meaning that you have a whole bunch of candidates, and now these candidates, they're adhering to your rules, whatever the rules you chose. As an example, we want to make sure that we are breakout rules, and these candidates are breakout rules. Now we need to rotate them, meaning that we need to switch them. If something is better by the same rules, when the time passes, then why stick around and have the current stock or ETF is in play? So why don't we just change that position with a new ETF? That's what we'll do. So every 21 trading days, it's a rolling window, we will rotate. But how do we rotate? We rotate based on ranking, and we'll rank our candidates based on the highest relative strength of the last 200 trading days. This way we know that these are the stocks which are kind of in a more parabolic version, because relative strength is almost like rate of change, but it uses more of a, like exponential uses more of a closest rate of change as more weight. So this way I will see that, oh, something is kind of like accelerating, then that's the candidate that I will go with. Because we might have more candidates which are in the breakout. As an example, our candidates are all ETFs that I will show you what the ETFs are that I'm using. And these ETFs are all breaking out, meaning that they're above the 50-day exponential moving average and the 2 ATRs, or 14 days ATRs. This way, we know that they're in the breakout, right? So they're going up, they're really going up. But I don't want to just get into stock as soon as it breaks out. I want to make sure that I can break out on strength. And I personally measure the strength using the on-stop order. Some people don't know what it means. It means that the stock has to rally at least 1% above the closing price from a previous day, or the stock ETF in this case. Only then I will trigger the entry. Otherwise, if the stock drops, as an example, the ETFs today did not rally much in the morning, and then they just dropped because of some worries or something like that. So this way, it would have been the weakness to get in. So we're trying to get in on strength. So we'll get in on strength based on the on-stop order. Then, very simple strategy to follow. We will have our protective stop loss of 10%, meaning that when we enter, we will just put the stop loss of 10%, end of day stop loss, by the way, not the intraday, but end of day stop loss. And then we will also trail it with 20% trailing stop. So this way, as days go by, we'll just trail it. But all those things are weekly signals, meaning that we will only enter every Tuesday, and we'll exit every Tuesday. So these are the weekly signals. Not to confuse with the rotation. Remember, rotation happens every 21 trading days. On top of this, it has to be weekly signal. Then we'll be only in one ETF at a time. So optional, you can also put the market filter, which works with or without market filter, but I prefer with the market filter, so I have more certainty that I don't want to be in something or get into something unless the market is in a good condition. But otherwise, these are the list of ETFs. So it's all the main sectors, the communications, materials, financials, industrials, energy, technology, consumer staples, real estate, utilities, healthcare, biotech, I put it as separate as well, just in case. Consumer discretionary, and I also put a few indices: S&P 500, Nasdaq 100, Russell 2000, because that will basically be much more wider version of stocks, more small cap or mid cap or micro cap stocks actually in Russell 2000. And then I like semiconductors, so I put semiconductors in the bunch. So these are all the ETFs that I'm using for this whole exercise. Nothing else. There's no any extra ETFs lurking around anywhere. Okay. Here's the result of that simple system. Well, you can see it's 14.9 compounded annual growth rate with only 29% maximum drawdown. So as you can see, the red line is my benchmark, and the brown line is the system's equity. You can see especially something like 2022 where this system makes money while this one obviously doesn't, right? So the benchmark was going down. Or we're sitting in cash as an example when the market is really suffering, because remember that market regime that I was putting in there. Okay, now here's the numbers that you can see. That only has 2 years in the last 18 years of trading. Only 2 losing years so far, 2016 and 2008. But otherwise, including 2022, it's a winning year, 33%. It obviously outperforms the market by a lot. It underperformed in 2024, but again, it's not just one system that you want to have in your toolbox. This is just one of the systems that you might have to use to smooth out your curves, which I will have different videos to talk about how to put it together with other systems and see how it performs better that way. Now, what if I use just the trailing stop? Okay, so I took out the rotation because it may be confusing to people. What will happen if I do just the trailing stop? This is more classical long-term trend following system. And you can see it still works. 12% returns on average compounded, 33% drawdowns, so it's a little bit more drawdowns. But you can see how we are outperforming the market when the market is starting to go in the bull market mode. And if I go into more numbers, you can see it again. Only 3 years which are negative. 2022 is not positive this way, negative, but we still outperformed the market of just a tiny bit at that time. Okay, this is the comparison column. Now, what else can I do? Well, I can do, instead of doing one ETF at a time, what if I'll do 2 ETFs at a time? So same idea, same ranking, right? But just 2 ETFs at a time. So now I'm doing the trailing and rotation plus only 2 ETFs at a time. It smoothed out my curve even more. My drawdowns are drastically reduced, 21%. And my CAGR is 13.29. Again, not too much to brag about for some people, but in reality for systematic traders, they will probably take that kind of return on a single system basis. Because if you plug into your total suite, you may actually get a lot more out of it. So anyway, so that's you can see that it's pretty interesting system by itself. Like 2022 again, it generates positive returns, only has 2 negative years, which are barely negative years, right? By itself, it's not a bad system, and it's only one system with just a few ETFs, right? Now, what if I'll do trailing stop only with 2 ETFs at a time? It's still not a bad system. It does reduce my drawdowns as well. It did reduce my CAGR as well a little bit more. And now I still have 2 negative years. I still outperform in 2022 just a little bit, underperform a little bit in the later years. But you can see that it's pretty stable system. So, in the short video conclusion, the long-term trend following approach and the rotations do work. Even with ETFs, you don't need to be too sophisticated. You need to play with just stocks. You can play with ETFs as well. You can also see that this particular approach that I chose, I chose just one of them. I could have chosen other approaches to it. I can play around all day with this. This is just one of them that I played around just a little bit, and in about 20 minutes I came up with this system. Okay, so it doesn't take that long for me to come up with this system, because I know the main ingredients of what we're doing, and that's exactly what I'm using. I'm using breakouts, I'm using the strength, as I said, I'm I'm testing the long-term trend following approach with trailing stop, or I'm engaging the rotation. That's how I started this whole video. And then I want to make sure that it's stable, so that's why I played with different versions of how to enter, how to exit, and I chose parameters which seem to be stable. So that's my overall conclusion for this video. I hope you really enjoyed it. So if you have any questions, write to our email info@tradingsystems.com, and on top of it, if you have a chance, go to tradingsystems.com and explore. There is more on this. There is a free course, actually not even one. If you poke around closely, you will find even 2 more courses. There's like 3 or 4 different courses over there, 3 courses. There is another demo video of how the systematic trading works, and interview with me, interview with Lawrence. And the links to our books that you can go and purchase on Amazon. So I would really strongly suggest you to check out the tradingsystems.com and see if it makes sense for you. Also, if you're watching this video and you made it so far and you find it useful, leave a comment. I would really appreciate if you let me know what else you want to see, because I have my own ideas, but who knows what people actually like to see. Okay, so with this, I'm going to leave you to this pretty interesting system, and see you next time.